is for her children to be happy. And if Prince Harry is happy with Meghan Markle, who just happens to be mixed race, well, there is really no concern on the Queen's side.
But this is an extraordinary merging of two families. Harry's has ruled over Britain and its empire for 1,000 years and has inherited...
But the thing is, Nut doesn't look African. And she doesn't act African. She doesn't identify herself as an African American. She only identified herself as African American, as Gina Nelthorpe-Cowan said, to do with her PR branding regarding becoming a humanitarian. Because before they had that card, she wasn't getting any jobs in the UK to build her identity in the UK before to then lead up to the setup of the launch of her in 2016. So that's not true whatsoever. Not true at all, really. It's just she wasn't really even personified or identifying as mixed race. And regarding her surgery on her face, she has done everything in her power to not look African American. So, just shaking my head at this whole bullshit narrative.
Its vast wealth and power. Meghan's family had to fight every inch of the way. While Meghan's father's family came from the coal mines of Pennsylvania, her mother's family came from the borderlands of South Carolina and Georgia in America's deep south. The first records we have of them date from the tense years that followed the American Civil War and the ending of slavery. No photos of them exist, but history professor Carmen Harris has explored the family history, and she's discovered the name of Meghan's great-grandmother in the census of 1900, Nettie Allen.
If we look at the 1900 census, we see a family here, the Allen family, and Nettie is actually their 2-year-old daughter in 1900. She has a brother who's Cole, who's 5. Nettie lives with her parents, Gertrude, who is her mom, and then Hunter, who is her father. Her father is listed as a farmer. The kind of home the Allens would have lived in would actually have looked something like what we see in the background here. So it's a very kind of Spartan type of living environment. These are people who are very, very poor.
Meghan's great-grandmother Nettie was growing up at a time when the brief freedom African Americans had enjoyed following the ending of slavery was being crushed by the Ku Klux Klan.
Okay, this is just all race card. So they're going to pull out like the genealogy from both of her parents. That's very selective. That the white part connects to. This is not racist in itself. The white part of her connects to the British and the black part of her connects to the Ku Klux Klan and slavery and poverty and struggle and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, pretty much oppression. So yeah, they're being racist while trying to manipulate you into believing that you have to defend Nut's rights as a royal elitist, living a life beyond we could ever imagine, while she's being oppressed by her race. It's just a joke.
Would have these reigns of terror, just shooting people summarily without any kind of legal recourse, as a way to remind Hunter and Gertrude and people like them that there was no sanctuary, there was no protection for them.
For people like Meghan's great-great-grandparents, Hunter and Gertrude,
So people like her family. So they're just speaking in general terms, connecting it to her family.
it took strength of character to raise children in this environment.
You have the one face that you show to whites, the face that you have to show in order to be sure that you're going to be safe and you're going to be protected. But within the confines of your home, you lift your children up, you try to encourage their imaginations, and you talk about the things that you want for the future.
For African Americans who dreamed of a better future, an opportunity came in the summer of 1914 when Prince Harry's great-great-grandfather George V declared war on Germany. This triggered what became known as the Great Migration.
Because of the labor shortage and the increased demand during World War I, African Americans were being recruited by northern industries. People would migrate for many reasons. Sometimes those reasons were desperation, but they also went for aspirational reasons. They wanted to have something better. They wanted their own slice of the American dream. And many of them had this imagination about the North as being a place where they would be allowed to be whole people.
Nettie and Gertrude migrated north from South Carolina to Ohio, where the family worked as factory hands and maids. It was there, 40 years later, that Nettie's granddaughter, Meghan's mother, was born. The family moved to LA in the early 1960s. There, Meghan's mother, Doria, would gain a university degree in social work.
Hold on. So Doria's family moved to California? I thought they were from Ohio. I thought Alvin Ragland was from Ohio.
Her mother is very much a campaigning spirit and always has been, and that's rubbed off on Meghan.
Just remember, they were the opposite. They didn't rub off on each other. They were the opposite. Always been the opposite. Don't know how they're connected. Don't know how they're related. But she came out of her. That is a true story.
She's incredibly close to her mother, and I think they share many of the same values.
Meghan says her mother helped instill in her a commitment to humanitarian causes. But in her early 30s, Meghan's focus was on her acting career, which was finally taking off.
Yeah, because that's all she did until she was actually until the British PR agency picked her up. And why would a British PR agency pick her up? Why would World Vision pick her up? Why would UN pick her up? There was no building of her becoming a humanitarian. There was none at all. It was just timing and planning, and not by Nut. Nut did not have the resources. She was a D-grade actress with one role in Suits that wasn't even a major role. Like, come on.
Off. In 2011, the first season of Suits was a hit. Meghan was one of the breakout stars.
It's fun. I mean, we really were having a great time. Thank you.
Suddenly, she was hot. She launched a lucrative lifestyle website where she gave food, fashion, and travel tips.
She didn't launch it. And that was a lot A lot later.
And she landed a role as the face of these glamorous ads for the Reitman's clothing line.
The right pair of jeans makes you
All a part of her build, her identity build.
feel good. Really good. Reitman's, really.
But among the commercial endorsements, Meghan also...
This is the thing, she was doing all these Canadian campaigns when she wasn't living in Canada. She was living in LA. It's just a complete setup.
also received an offer to become a UN Women's Advocate.
Oh, wait. She received an offer. So out of the blue, she had no humanitarian causes or prospects or skills of her at whatsoever. Just worked on suits, and an offer came to her to be a UN. If she wasn't even an ambassador, she was like I don't know what she was. She was on an ad, and she spoke and introduced people.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Meghan Markle.
An offer she responded to enthusiastically in this poised and polished speech on International Women's Day 2015.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am tremendously honored to be UN Women's Advocate for political participation.
That's it. She was an advocate. She wasn't even a fucking ambassador. She was an advocate. Just like her husband's a global advocate. Her fake husband. Like, it's just, yeah. Advocate. That's it.
And leadership. I am proud to be a woman and a feminist.
Wow.
And this evening...
Wow. Oh, I'm shook. I'm so shook. That was brave and stunning. I have a tear in my eye.
I am extremely proud to stand before you on this significant day, which serves as a reminder to all of us of...
Wait, did she say she was African American? Or was it just being a woman and a feminist? Or of mixed race? No? No takers?
how far we've come, but also amid celebration, a reminder of the road ahead.
Meghan is more than your average actor. She is more than your average, regular on a TV show.
Just go back to that Deal or No Deal footage.
She understands that the world has bigger needs.
She's got this genuine passion to help other people. I mean, she really is a humanitarian at heart. That's what she wants to do.
Don't trust whatever Katie says, because it's all bullshit.
Hi, Meghan.
Meghan prepared unusually carefully for her role as UN Women's Advocate, taking a week to shadow a UN intern, as she explained in this relaxed but revealing interview.
And I can't believe you actually spent a week shadowing someone in the office, because you never hear of anyone
I know.
well known doing that, because that's called Scotch work.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you never hear of them letting people in. I was like, I know.
No, they've probably never been asked.
Yeah, well, they said they hadn't had that question before.
See?
But for me, I don't just want to...
Isn't shadowing someone for a week method acting? Trying to learn how to act the role? I mean, you're an advocate, you're not an ambassador, so I'm not sure what you're shadowing. Shadowing how to do a speech? Weird.
show up somewhere and wave my hand and feel like that's enough. Mm-hmm. Like, if I'm going to have my name attached to it or I'm going to do it, I really get very hands-on.
Meghan gets hands-on in her role as global ambassador.
Just remember this, I've done a video on this. This was, I think this is Africa. So this was done, I think, 2015 or earlier, and then it was meshed into a 2016 campaign, completely staged and set up.
For the charity World Vision. In this upbeat video, where she promotes a project providing villages with...
Yeah, that footage there was, I think, earlier than 2016, a lot earlier. So this isn't true, this stuff either.
Clean water.
These girls are able to stay in school because they aren't walking hours a day to go and get water. And this clean water source has changed the entire community. So it's really cool to see.
So just imagine whichever PR instructed her to do it, told her to dress up like Princess Diana. Of course, not knowing that she was ever going to meet or be with Todge. Of course. Because this whole thing isn't a setup, and her identity wasn't constructed at all.
Meghan applies her feminism back to her role in Suits, as she made clear in this assertive, confident contribution at a gender inequality conference.
This season, every script seemed to begin with, Rachel enters wearing a towel.
So starting out on a globalist forum connected to WEF, which is also connected to the royal family, back in 2013. One Young World with Gina Nelthorpe Cowan as her PR.
Towel. Nope, not doing it anymore. Not doing it. And I called the creator. I was like, it's just gratuitous. We get it. You've already seen it once.
So she's calling the shots despite having no career whatsoever. And no credibility whatsoever. She's been in a show for 2 minutes and she's calling the shots.
And so I think at a certain point you feel empowered enough to just say no.
Now approaching her mid-30s, Meghan had taken control of her own life.
Oh, and she didn't say no either to Deal or No Deal. Just objectifying herself completely. And the fake tits either. She said no to, obviously, and the complete objectifying. And also those earlier shots of when she started her acting career, of her being promiscuous in those shots, those portraits. Yeah, she just said no because she's a feminist, and that's what matters.
It was something Harry had been trying to do for 10 years. Harry also believed in using his celebrity for good causes. Even during the wild years of his early 20s, he'd helped establish a charity for children affected by HIV in the southern African country of Lesotho.
I suppose it's one time when you can really use your name to raise money. And if I'm going to use it for anything, then what more of a better opportunity to use it here?
In 2013, Harry's active army service came to an end. The army had given him a sense of belonging. Adrift, he was finally forced to confront his unresolved issues of anger and grief. On his brother's advice, he entered counselling. He also threw himself into establishing the Invictus Games for disabled servicemen and women.
I wanted to bring this inspirational event to a more international audience.
There's no project that Harry just thinks of. These are all planned and premeditated and arranged and initiated by courtiers and by the palace and palace communications. They try to personalize it and make it their own so they have credibility, but none of this stuff is real. It's all to do with his rebranding because of the Hitler costume, because of his drunken disorderlies. They had to really team it in, whatever. And they had to control his brand and the brand of the monarchy and their reputation. This is what this is about. This is what it's always been about.
And to inspire many more who have suffered life-changing injuries, either by taking part in the games or simply by watching it at home.
More recently, he has become involved in the Heads Together mental health campaign with William and Kate. It's encouraged him to speak out frankly about the impact of his mother's death, as in this heartfelt promotional film.
Even her and I, over the years, have not talked enough about, our mother.
Never enough. I always thought to myself, what's the point in bringing up the past? What's the point in bringing up something that's only going to make you sad? It ain't going to change it. It ain't going to bring her back. And when you start thinking like that, it can be really damaging. And you always said to me, you've got to sit down and think about those memories. But for me, it was like, don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Harry had wrestled his demons and found new purpose. Meghan had her career where she'd always wanted it. The stage was set for the royal and the celebrity to meet. In 2016, Meghan was quizzed on her knowledge of Britishness.
In Cockney rhyming slang, what does apples and pears mean? I feel like I'm being taken down a rabbit hole here. Cockney rhyming slang, what does apples and pears mean?
She struggled, but was unfazed.
I really have no appropriate answer for that. Oh, stairs. Apples and pears. I'll say that today. What is the national animal of England? Am I supposed to know that?
Since then, she's had plenty of opportunity to up her knowledge of Britain. A few weeks later, after the news of their relationship broke in November...
Why would she be having that? Why would that be? Why would she be having that interview and having those questions?